To convert the units of a quantity, we're going to multiply the quantity by a conversion factor, flipping that conversion factor so that the new units are in the appropriate spots. So to see what I mean, let's work out an example. Let's say we want to take 3 kilometers and we want to convert that into a certain amount of meters. Now, my conversion factor is going to be the ratio that compares meters to kilometers. So we know that in 1 kilometer there are 1,000 meters. But you can also say that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. What we're going to do is we're going to take our original data, the 3 kilometers, and we're going to multiply it by one of these ratios. The ratio we choose has the unit we want, which is meters, in the place we want it, which is the top line. So the 1,000 meters over 1 kilometer is the ratio we want to choose. So we take our 3 kilometers, we multiply that by 1,000 meters divided by 1 kilometer. So 3 kilometers times 1,000 meters over 1 kilometer, what's going to end up happening is kilometers cancel out, and you're left with 3 times 1,000, which equals 3,000 meters. So 3 kilometers equals 3,000 meters. Now, to watch what I did there with the canceling out of units really slowly, I'm going to do it really step by step. We have our 3 kilometers, which is the same thing as 3 kilometers over 1. We multiply it by 1,000 meters divided by 1 kilometer. That was our conversion factor. Now, when you multiply fractions, remember you multiply the top line and you multiply the bottom line and then you divide. So if I multiply the top line, that's 3 kilometers multiplied by 1,000 meters. And then if I multiply the bottom line, that's 1 kilometer times 1, which is just 1 kilometer. What happens is, on the top line you have kilometers, and then you divide it by kilometers on the bottom, so kilometers times kilometers just cancel out, and you're left with 3 times 1,000 meters, which is 3,000 meters. So in the green, that's the long version. In the blue, all you have to know is units on the top cancel out with units on the bottom, and you just have 3 times 1,000, which is 3,000 meters. Okay, let's flip it now. Let's say we wanted to take 3,000 meters and convert that into a certain number of kilometers. Again, those two conversion ratios were 1 kilometer holds 1,000 meters, or you could say that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. This time, we want to end up with kilometers on top. So we choose the ratio that has kilometers on top. So what we do is we take our quantity, the 3,000 meters, and we'll multiply it by the 1 kilometer divided by 1,000 meters ratio, or conversion factor. What does that equal? Meters on top cancel out with meters on the bottom, and you're left with 3,000 kilometers divided by 1,000. So essentially it's 3,000 divided by 1,000, which equals 3, and your units are kilometers. So that's the flip side of that conversion. Now you can also convert 2 units at the same time. And one of the things we do mostly when we talk about motion in physics, one of the most frequent conversions, is taking something like 10 kilometers per hour and converting it so that you change it to meters per second. So to do that, notice that we're going to change kilometers to meters, and we're also going to have to change hours to seconds. So we'll need a conversion factor for kilometers and meters, and we already know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. And as far as relating seconds to hours, there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So let's see how we can use those two conversion factors. So we'll take our original quantity, the 10 kilometers per 1 hour, and what we want to end up with is meters per second. So meters on the top line, seconds on the bottom. Well, if meters is on the top line, I know I can use that conversion factor. So I'll multiply by 1,000, meters is on the top line, per 1 kilometer. Now, what else do I want? I want seconds on the bottom line. So right here, seconds is on the top line. We're going to have to flip this ratio so that seconds can be on the bottom line. So what I multiply with is not 3,600 seconds over an hour. It's 1 hour divided by 3,600 seconds. So what ends up happening in terms of the units, we have kilometers on the top line, cancels out with kilometers on the bottom. We have hours on the bottom line, cancels out with hours on top, and you're left with meters on the top line divided by seconds on the bottom line, which is exactly what you want to end up with. Now let's see how the multiplication of numbers turns out. You have your 10 multiplied by 1,000 multiplied by 1 on the top, and on the bottom you have 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 3,600. So essentially you have 10 times 1,000, which is 10,000, divided by 3,600, and we'll pull out a calculator. We get 10,000 divided by 3,600 equals 2.78, and our units we said were meters on the top, seconds on the bottom. So 2.78 meters per second would be your conversion of 10 kilometers per hour.